Hello everybody and welcome to DampSam Reacts. It's me reacting to this video, which is gypsum versus lime plaster. So I saw this come up on my screen and I was very intrigued when I saw the title and it said keeping solid walls breathable. We know what I think about people that say houses breathe. Load of bollocks. So I'm trying to have an open mind. I've not seen it, and I thought I'll react to it in real time like I normally do, and we'll see what we think of these people. It's by the Rennovation Couple. I'm sure I've seen something with them before, but this video is from 9 years ago, and they've had 178,000 views, which is not bad. It's not bad. They've had a few quid out of Google for that. So I'm going to get straight into it and we'll find out what they're all about. The Rennovation Couple. Lime, breathable, solid walls. Sounds historic. Sounds like they're into the historic properties. Yeah, let's have a listen to them. Come on, the Rennovation Couple. Let's have a look at you.
We made the decision to take all of the external walls back to the stonework.
Brickwork. Is it brick or is it stuff? I think there's a combination here, isn't there? That's obviously brick. Is that stone on top?
In the past there's been lots of layers of gypsum, cement render and lots of other non-breathable materials.
Again, materials don't breathe. Water vapor will pass in and out of them as a gas. Water vapor as a gas will pass in and out of them under vapor pressure.
And we really wanted to take it back to how the house was originally built. Here you can see...
You're going to take it back to how it originally fucking built. Take all the walls down, just have plot.
Modern gypsum plaster, which has been put over and skimmed over the old lime work. Now on the interior walls that's not so much of a problem, but on these external walls we want it to be breathable, so we've made the decision to take it all back to the stonework and brickwork, which will allow the building to breathe as it was when it was originally built.
When they didn't build them so walls could fucking breathe, they built them to be a warm, dry space, a space where rain didn't come in, and water vapor will go out of the walls, and it will come in. It's some people they've listened to people online and they get this these ideas. Preconceived notions that houses have got lungs and they're breathing, and then as soon as you put like some plaster on wall, some gypsum plaster on, that smothers it and stops this water vapor from going through. It is permeable, and it even paints. It goes through paint. It don't just stop there. It goes through paint. The reason why it will stop is condensational form. Water vapor will stop when it's a vapor check. So basically when it hits its dew point, so if it's going through a wall and it's colder than its dew point, then condensational form, that's what we call a vapor check, and that's all it is. If the vapor check is on the surface of the wall, it'll form there. It's not that it won't go through. When the temperature hits above the dew point, the water vapor will carry on its journey through that fabric, and that's how it is. But for some reason, a lot of people's got it in their heads that once you skim a wall, that's it. It's like waterproofing it, and it's just not. That's not the case.
The lime plaster and lime mortar is much softer than modern day cement
Agree.
materials, so it's quite an easy job of chipping away at any loose bits and just pulling them off the wall that will give us a better key for the new plaster, as we can get it right into all the gaps. So we're just taking it back to the mortar, getting rid of any loose plaster. Here's a good example of where you can see the stonework, the original lime plaster. There's also a lime finishing skim, which would have been the original surface, and then in subsequent years they've put on gypsum plaster on top. Now, as soon as you put this gypsum plaster on and modern paints, you effectively create a completely non-breathable layer.
That is a lie. That is not true. That is an untruth, and that's from someone that's got little knowledge. But yet, it's telling 178,000 people this. So 178,000 people are then going to go and tell their friends. And if they just tell one person, that'll just multiply. And that one person tells one person. And this is where all this bollocks comes from. When people are saying that gypsums and paints are sealing in the property. It fucking isn't. It just isn't that. It just isn't like that. It's not like that. And I'm passionate about this information getting out there. So, yeah, as you can see. Hiya, it's DampSam here. I've just come on just to tell you that DampSam.com is now up and running. We've got the Express damp proofing system course, designed by me, run by me, done by me. You can buy that. We've got the ultimate guide to black mold and condensation. You can pay what you want for it. And we've also got 3 free ebooks. And also we've got a guide to basement conversions, the ultimate guide to damp proofing, and also the podcasting series. You can get in contact with them, and the YouTube membership. Enjoy it, rest of your film.
And although to keep completely true to the era of the house, we would be lime plastering. It's simply a budget thing. We decided to go with a normal skim over the interior walls.
And this is it. This is this big argument to anybody that's a traditionalist who does lime plastering. Not against lime plastering at all, but it is expensive. It's an expensive way to plaster a house, and this is why we don't do it now, because the fetched cheaper methods are cheaper methods, more accessible methods to people that's not got big budgets. Yeah, so it's just called progress, basically. It's called progress. We're not living in fucking dark ages anymore.
So when we took off the layers of plaster, we discovered that the original dowels, like the beading, are still completely fine and all intact. So we decided to give them a rub down, and we'll leave these in place so that when we use our new lime hemp plaster, we will be able to keep those original kind of curved.
But that's your chimney breast though. So we're going to put lime hemp on chimney breast.
Corners that were true to how the house was built. In this room you'll see that we've done a bit more work to the stonework, and we've managed to remove almost all of any loose plaster and just chip back just below the stone line anything loose, which will just give us a much better key for the lime hemp plaster to bond to. We will need to dampen down the walls slightly anyway before we start work, but it should give us a really nice key. Again, here's an example of the original doweling on the corners, and that will give us about 30 mil, just under 30 mil of lime hemp plaster, which is about what we wanted to do anyway. So
I fucking bet. I bet it's killing him leaving that bead on, because he's having to put it on thicker.
It's nice that we can keep those. There will be some corners that we will need to replace, like a...
Hiya, DampSam here. Did you know, if you want to watch a full unedited version of this, if you become a Damp fan, $2.99, which is as much as an expensive cup of coffee up here, you can watch a full unedited version of this. Nah, let's get back watching this bit, eh? See you in a bit.
Window, we've got some loose bits that we will need to sort. So first fix of electrics is today. We've left the ceilings down just so we can get everything sorted. And once the guys have finished putting in the wire.
Oh, and so obviously traditionalists and that, they'll be fucking putting lat and plaster on ceilings then, so they'll be getting all lats on there, no gypsum products, be all lats. It'd cost a fortune, like, but obviously traditionalists aren't there, so it'll be just get them lats on, I bet.
Wiring for upstairs, we will board up the ceiling.
All right, plasterboard is it?
And then start the walls and get them plastered.
Yeah, compromising on ceilings.
And on this side, we'll be plastering up to the wall, up to the stonework, and then our line.
I'm surprised they didn't took fucking nails out, you know, old iron nails, and then redid them in iron nails, you know, to be traditionalists again.
And plaster can then go all the way up to the top and butt up to the ceiling.
Oh. Renovation Couple. Is that it? They're fucking done? All right. I wonder if there's a part 2. I thought I wanted to watch him actually doing lime plastering. Anyway, so that's a quick one then. So, Restoration Couple. Keeping solid walls breathable, except if they're internal walls, except if the ceilings. Basically, just to do one video, and we'll just do one wall, and if it costs a lot of money, then we'll have to overboard it as well. So yeah, keeping some solid walls breathable. Right. So my take on this is yeah, I think I've said it before. For houses don't breathe, and if you the reason why there's gypsum products, there's the reason why we've got newer damp products, and new systems keep coming out every week. It's progress. They're making them so we can install them quicker. We're making them so they're more efficient, and that's all. That's the reason why we're not living in fucking dark ages, because we've made progress. And they've made things accessible. Everybody has a right to live in a damp-free home, no matter what your budget is. And not everybody can afford to put lime on walls. And what people don't understand about lime plastering is it has to be built up a layer at a time to get that thickness, to get his 30mm thickness. And it has to be left to dry. And it has to be left to dry around about a week. So he'll put a coat on and then fuck off somewhere, and then he'll come back, put another coat on, and fuck off somewhere, and then come back, put another coat on, rub it up, fuck off somewhere, come back, skim it with lime stuff as well, which will take forever as well. So it's alright on historic grade 1 listed buildings or even grade 2 listed buildings, not on normal buildings. And what you'll have noticed, what I've noticed, and I am a traditionalist. I do like older properties, especially old Victorian properties. And there's one thing that I don't like at minute, and this is partly to do with government. And they've got to hit targets for emissions and emissions targets and EPC ratings for properties. But what they're allowing people to do, and you'll have seen it, they put in the insulation and modern renders on the fronts of buildings. I mean, it don't really matter outside with a brick, but they're putting them on, you know, old stonework just to get the EPC ratings up. So we're going to end up with these horrible modern renders. And listen, mine's rendered, but mine were a 1960s brick bungalow. And I've got like a white render on mine. It's a modern render, and it looks modern and nice. But on a old Victorian property that's got a stone fronted, you know, the stone fronted, and a brick inner and a brick side facade or whatever, in a brick back facade. Just up back and side, leave front, put storm dry on front. That'll bring it'll bring it partly in line. So if you storm dry it, repoint it and then storm dry it, then you've got a protection there for around about 25 years. You're not going to get water going in and then spalling and stuff like that. But let's leave these fronts. If they look nice, let's leave them. Because the traditional buildings, I mean, we had this in big cities where all these lovely old buildings got pulled down and modern new ones built, like in Barnsley. They turned it into a fucking concrete jungle, a corduroy concrete jungle. It weren't even nice concrete. It was fucking awful. It was like Artex concrete. The worst thing ever, because they did it cheapest. And I've said anybody that were involved in that back in the 60s should be fucking thrown in jail. Well, probably all dead now, but it just, growing up, it was just dour, grey, horrible, just people in town walking around miserable because they've got to look at these fucking concrete buildings. It was just awful. And it's took years and years and years, and then over the last 3 years, Barnsley Council's sort of gone and looked at other cities and other models and had a massive U-turn and built us somewhere to be prouder. They've done they knocked all older buildings down. There's still a couple that still need knocking down, but they've rebuilt all city centre, and then they've reconfigured it, and they've done it so that we've got some kind of cafe living and stuff, and everybody's proud. So everybody at Barnsley is proud, and they've made a good job. But they were to blame for me having to live 40 years or 50 years in a shithole, and Barnsley got a shithole name because of it. Nah, it's not. So people are coming to holiday in Barnsley even. Yeah. So if you're due a holiday in Barnsley, come and stay at SA Stays Limited. That's mine. So I've got some serviced accommodation properties, and if you wanted to stay in them, go onto SA Stay website, and you can stay in luxury in Barnsley. So I hope you've enjoyed it anyway, and we'll see you on next one. Bye bye now.